Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing very, very well. And I hope you're ready for a really exciting video because I am super excited about this topic. Now, how did this video come about, you ask? Earlier this year, someone asked me for a list sort of the favorite books that I read in 2017, and they didn't want my normal like 2017 list that I had already put out on the video. So I started to go through everything that I read, and I recognized two things. So this person is really spawning for me two videos. First thing that I recognized was the amazing amount of phenomenal books by Asian American women that I had read in 2017. And that started getting me thinking about all of the books, amazing books by Asian American women that I had read and also that I wanted to read. So that sort of spawned the video you're about to watch and we'll talk about in more detail. And I know you guys have heard me say it before, but I was also sort of amazed by the amazing amount of Nigerian women, both Nigerian American and just Nigerian women authors that I read in 2017. So yeah, that's going to be another video because Nigerian women authors also blew my mind in 2017. So I decided what I do is sort of talk to you guys about some amazing Asian American women writers that a lot of them you maybe have heard of, maybe you've read some stuff by them, maybe you haven't, but I just wanted to sort of showcase them. And this is not a definitive list in any way, shape, or form. There are many women that belong on this list that I am not including just because of time and space. These are just the ones that really I'm super excited to have read recently, or they sort of inspired my love of Asian American women literature, or books that I'm excited to read. And then two books that are coming out in the next couple months that I am super excited to get my hands on and tell you guys about. So there you go. So where do you start? And when I started to sort of think about this topic, I went back to sort of the very first book that I could think of when it came to Asian American women literature that just stuck in my head and really has never left. And I think there's a whole generation maybe now that hasn't read it, and or there were some people that thought maybe it was too hyped and they may have skipped it, and you really shouldn't have, and that was Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. Now, I had a copy of this book, which I lent out, and if you have it, you better return it, because I don't know where you are. Joy Luck Club by Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan is an amazing novel, really of two sets of four women. It is about four women that come to America from China and raise their daughters, and then also the four daughters. And the book sort of starts, from what I recall, it has been years since I've read it, but the four daughters are gathered for the funeral of one of their mothers. And what the book does brilliantly is flip back and forth between the perspectives of the daughters, the mothers, the new American experience coming to America, what it was like for some of the mothers to live in China, and also what the expectations on Chinese American born daughters here in America is, and how their lives turned out. And you guys know this was turned into a phenomenal film, and it is a phenomenal book. And it's one of those first ones that I can remember that's really like a bunch of interconnected, interweaving, I'm having a hard time speaking today, interwoven short stories, so you kind of get them all together. It is amazing. And so I'm going to have to talk a lot faster, or this video is going to be super duper long. So the next author that I'm going to talk about is an author that got a lot of buzz last year. And you guys will not be surprised to see Pachinko by Min Jin Lee on this list. This is a phenomenal book, and if you haven't read it, you really should. And I'm not going to talk about it much because I want to talk about Min Jin Lee's first book, which is Free Food for Millionaires. Now, this is very different from Pachinko, because this one's actually set more in America. This is about a Korean-American girl whose parents live in Queens and they own, I think, a dry cleaner. It's been a while. So, and she, the daughter, actually winds up through scholarship going to an Ivy League school and sort of transcending the life that her parents lead. But after graduation, there's a lot of like, what is she going to do next? Where is she going to go? And it interconnects her family, sort of what they've been through. It interconnects what she is and the sort of how America has affected her idea of what she can become. She also has a friend, I want to say, named Ella, who I cannot, Ella. And Ella's married to an ambitious sort of Korean American man, and there's a lot of dynamic. But what Min Jin Lee does brilliantly is she just creates a story that folds you. Now, she does not write a short book. Min Jin Lee cannot write a novella, it appears. But I really highly recommend, if you loved Pachinko, if you hadn't gotten to it, read Free Food for Millionaires. If you haven't read both of them, they are both definitely worth your time. Glare, Russell's face. There you go. So that was the first one. So obviously, Min Jin Lee, well known. But maybe you missed out on her first book because Pachinko just exploded. And that brings me to another author that you probably actually are very familiar with, but there's really no reason not to talk about Celeste Inge as often as possible. And her first novel was Everything I Never Told You, which is flippin' brilliant. And her new novel, which is Little Fires Everywhere, which is brilliant. They're very different. I'm not going to talk a lot about Little Fires Everywhere because, again, it's been everywhere. But if you missed Everything I Never Told You, this is a story of a family whose young daughter goes missing. And it is no spoiler to find out that she has died. And this is not about solving the murder or solving the death of the daughter. This book is about family and how we maybe don't know family as well as we think we do, and expectations, and how parents affect children, and how children rebel. This book is so good, you guys, and it's tense, just like this book, just like Little Fires Everywhere. What Celeste Inge does brilliantly is she creates a tension out of modernity. Modernity? That's the word I want. She makes you really sort of understand that everyday life has its own set of expectations, and if you're not careful, they can overwhelm. And I love everything she's written, and she's brilliant. And so, so Everything I Never Told You and Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Inge. Definitely both of them worth every minute of your time. The next author I'm going to tell you about, again, probably needs no introduction, because I think A Little Life by Yanagihara was just about everywhere a couple of years ago. I personally think this book is brilliant, but it's also a book that I will never read again because it broke my heart, stomped on my heart, and I'm not going to talk a lot about this book. But in case you missed Yanagihara's first novel, The People in the Trees, I'm highly recommending you go back to it. It could not be more different. This is the story of a scientist that goes to an island that has an indigenous people that are thought to be able to live forever. And it turns out that the scientist starts to study these people, and he winds up bringing some children back and sort of adopting them. This book focuses on so many different things. I cannot give anything away, because if I say anything about the plot, it will give it away, and that it would be so unfair to you. But this is science mystery. It is sort of folkloric about the people, the indigenous people, their culture. It also has adults and taking advantage of this indigenous people. And the main doctor is accused of a crime, and that becomes sort of the center of this book. But I don't want to say too much. One, that cover is phenomenal, and the paperback is equally as beautiful. And Yanagihara is hands down one of my favorite writers that I've read recently. And ooh, those won't stay there. So definitely highly recommend both of her books, The People in the Trees and A Little Life. Okay, books that came out last year that I read by some women that were just phenomenal. that probably don't need a lot of discussion. The Leavers by Lisa Coe, which was shortlisted for the National Book Award. This is the story of a mother and child who are separated when the mother is deported. I wanted this book to be a little more gritty than it was, but it's definitely a very, very propelling tell. You definitely get into the world of the young boy is adopted into a white family, which leads to a form of assimilation, which is fascinatingly tackled. And then he goes hunting for his mother, who he doesn't know whatever happened to her. Lisa Coe is phenomenal. She is the sweetest woman. And The Leavers is definitely worth picking up if you skipped it last year. Another book you may have skipped last year that I also highly recommend is Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Khong. This is the story of a woman who goes home to help take care of her father who is suffering from early onset of Alzheimer's. This book is heart-wrenching and beautiful and sparse, but perfect, pitch perfect. It will make you laugh, it will make you cry, and it is so good. And that's Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Khong. Now come a list of 3 books that I haven't read. One has been out for a while because I have both the hardback copy and the paperback copy of Sorry to Disrupt the Peace by Patty Yumi Cottrell. I think both of these copies are freaking gorgeous. It won the Barnes & Noble Discover Award winner prize last year. This is the story of a young girl in her 20s, I want to say. No, she's 32. Okay. So more middle-aged. A 32-year-old single woman who gets a call one day while she's in IKEA that her adopted brother has committed suicide. And she doesn't feel like that's something that he would do. And so she goes hunting for the reasons why he committed suicide. This was Joss of Squibble Reads' favorite book of last year. I've started it. It punches from the beginning. So you have to be ready for a dark tale, but it is beautifully written, and I just need to finish it and really just dive into it. So Sorry to Disrupt the Peace by Patty Yumi Cottrell. And if you don't follow her Instagram and the adorable pictures she posts of her partner and their cat, you're missing out. 2 books that I definitely haven't read, but I want to tell you about because they don't come out until July. I've mentioned them on my channel before, but I'm super excited. I've been holding off. I've been wanting to read them, but I'm trying to wait till closer so you guys can get them so I can really talk about them but they sit there and they stare at me on my shelves. And the first one is What We Were Promised by Lucy Tan. Lucy sent me a copy of this book and I appreciate it greatly, and Little Brown got it on over to me, so thank you so very, very much. This is the story, I want to say, of the Zen family who moved back to China. And I'm just going to read you the beginning of it because I haven't read it, and there's not a lot to talk about it because it hasn't come out yet. So it says, after years of chasing the American dream, the Zen family has moved back to China. Settling into a luxurious serviced apartment in Shanghai, Lena and their daughter Karen join an elite community of Chinese-born, Western-educated professionals who have returned to a radically transformed city. One morning in the 8th tower of Lawson Suites, Lena discovers that a childhood keepsake, an ivory bracelet, has gone missing. The incident contributes to a wave of unease that has begun to settle throughout the Zen household. A marketing strategist, bows under the guilt of not having engaged in nobler work. Meanwhile, Lena, lonely in her new life of leisure, assumes the modern moniker Tai Tai, a housewife who does no work at all. She spends her days haunted by the circumstance surrounding her arranged marriage to and her lingering feelings for his brother, Kwon. Lena and take pains to hide their anxieties, but their housekeeper, Sunny, a hardworking girl with secrets of her own, bears witness to their struggles. Oh my God, Lucy, that sounds so good. Now, this book comes out on July 10th, so add it to your Goodreads to-read list, and I think there will probably be a giveaway, but definitely get it on your radar because I think it's going to be big. The other book that probably needs no introduction, even though it doesn't come out until the end of July, and also I think is going to be a major summer read, is The Incendiaries by Ro Quan. Now, I have started this book, the first 20 pages, a number of times. I originally thought it came out in June, so I thought I could finally read it, and I was so excited, but it doesn't come out until July 31st. So I'm holding because I want to read it closer to its due date, to its publication date, so I can tell you guys about it. But this book to me is one of my desired reads of the year. And this says that Phoebe Lynn and Will Kendall meet their first month at a prestigious Edward University. Phoebe is a glamorous girl who doesn't tell anyone she blames herself for her mother's recent death. Will is a misfit scholarship boy who transferred to Edwards from Bible college, waiting tables to get by. What he knows for sure is that he loves Phoebe. Haunted by her loss, Phoebe is increasingly drawn into a religious group, a secretive extremist cult, found by a charismatic former student, John Leal. He has an enigmatic past that involves North Korea and Phoebe's Korean-American family. Meanwhile, Will struggles to confront the fundamentalism he tried to escape and the obsession consuming the one he loved. When the group bombs several buildings in the name of faith, killing 5 people, Phoebe disappears. Will devotes himself to finding her, tilting his obsession himself, seeking answers to what happened to Phoebe and whatever she could have been responsible for in this violent act. That sounds so good. The Incendiaries by Ro Quan. I think the kickoff for this book is at Green Apple Books on the Park in San Francisco, July 31st. You guys, I'm going to be there. I'm scheduling my whole July schedule about being at this kickoff. I hope you guys can be there too. Please add it to your to-do list or your Goodreads to-read list. I could have mentioned so many more amazing Asian American or Asian Pacific American. This is actually Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. I could have really gone in all directions, but as you know, this video is already 16 minutes long, and all of these books are books that I've read and loved, or books that you are coming that I want to read that are amazing, and all of them I think you can read. So, have you read any of them? Do you guys love them? Which Asian American women writers do you just fall over for? Please let me know in the comments below. As always, if you're a return subscriber, thank you so much. If you are new to my channel, thank you guys. Please subscribe. And as always, until next time, happy reading, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!